The Cold War was not a traditional war fought with infantry and artillery on a single battlefield. Instead, it was a multi-decade war of nerves, a global struggle for ideological, economic, and technological supremacy between the United States, USA, and the Soviet Union, USSR. Spanning from roughly 1947 to 1991, it reshaped the modern world. The roots of conflict, 1945 to 1947. During World War II, the US and the USSR were unlikely allies united against a common enemy, Nazi Germany. However, as soon as the war ended, their fundamental differences surfaced. The US championed capitalism and liberal democracy, while the USSR promoted communism and a state-controlled economy. In 1946, Winston Churchill famously declared that an Iron Curtain had descended across Europe, dividing the democratic West from the communist East. Containment and the Marshall Plan. In 1947, President Harry S. Truman introduced the Truman Doctrine, stating that the U.S. would provide military and economic aid to any nation resisting communism. This became known as the policy of containment. To prevent war-torn Europe from turning to communism out of desperation, the U.S. launched the Marshall Plan, a massive $13 billion aid package to rebuild Western Europe. Berlin, located deep within Soviet-controlled East Germany, was split into 4 sectors. In 1948, Stalin attempted to force the West out by cutting off all land routes to West Berlin. The U.S. responded with the Berlin Airlift, flying in supplies for over a year until the Soviets backed down. This tension led to the creation of 2 major military alliances: NATO, led by the U.S. and Western allies, the Warsaw Pact, led by the USSR and its Eastern European satellite states. The arms race and MAD. The Cold War was defined by a terrifying buildup of nuclear weapons. By the 1950s, both sides possessed hydrogen bombs. This led to the doctrine of mutually assured destruction, MAD. The idea that if one side attacked with nukes, the other would retaliate and both would be completely destroyed. This paradox, ironically, prevented a hot war between the 2 superpowers. To the moon and beyond. The battle for superiority moved to the stars. 1957, the USSR shocked the world by launching Sputnik, the first artificial satellite. 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space. In 1969, the U.S. took the lead when Apollo 11 landed Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin on the moon, fulfilling President Kennedy's promise. This was the closest the world ever came to a total nuclear holocaust. The USSR placed nuclear missiles in Cuba, just 90 miles from Florida. For 13 days, the world held its breath as President John F. Kennedy and Soviet leader Nikita Khrushchev engaged in a high-stakes standoff. Eventually, the USSR agreed to remove the missiles in exchange for a U.S. promise not to invade Cuba and a secret agreement to remove U.S. missiles from Turkey. We always peace our world and make a beautiful place. Thanks for watching.